We are joined by the legend here at Sports Radio 610, the newest member of the Texas Radio Hall of Fame. Rich Lord, you got the text line going crazy already as people have been waiting for you to get in here. And first off, congratulations. Welcome in. And we are very excited to be here with you. But once again, congratulations on the latest Texas Hall of Fame, Texas Radio Hall of Fame.
It's great to be here. It really is. It's a blast from the past, no doubt about it. And I didn't know this was about the Hall of Fame. I thought I was up here for Clint to challenge me to continue our bowling rivalry.
Okay, I heard about that.
No?
I thought that was off limits. No, we're not going to go around. We can.
Balls at Lucky Strike.
So what happened, man? I've heard about that story, and that I heard you were very confident walking into that.
It was 2 out of 3, if I remember.
Yeah.
I wiped the floor with you in the first game, and then he came back and totally hammered me.
But he said something.
Yeah, he absolutely destroyed me. But my excuse to this day is that the bowling balls were crap. So
they had crappy bowling balls. We didn't want to start on that note.
He did it.
Oh, that was fun. Well, look, hey, I'm down for round 2, man. And that sport, anything else, man, whatever, that'd be fun, no question. That Rich for me is honestly, in all the different radio that I've done, which is obviously a small fraction of what you've done. That was one of the funnest nights at an event that I've ever been a part of. That night, man.
Oh, the entire city of Baytown came out. Are you kidding me?
I had to bring the intimidation factor.
Advantage.
Rich is hot about this. Rich is hot about it.
You're picking up on that, huh?
Oh, no. So, man, tell us about your start here. I mean, you were here almost when the station started.
Yeah, station started in '94. They brought me in '95, and last weekend at the Texas Radio Hall of Fame ceremonies, I tried to remember to mention everyone. Total fail on my part in not mentioning Cowboy Dickie Rosenfeld. You guys probably haven't heard of him, but this station, 610 AM in the 60s, was the big 610, was the biggest rock and roll station in Houston, and Dickie brought the Beatles to Houston, Sam Houston Coliseum, total Houston radio legend, and he's the one who came to me in 1995 and talked me into coming over here on a leap of faith, and it's the best decision I ever made. So I owe him so much, and I feel so terrible I didn't mention him in Kilgore, but the reason I'm sitting here right now, for sure.
Rich, you before that, I mean, you were traveling the state calling games and things of that nature since way back, right?
Spent 6 years in El Campo, Texas, and that's where I met my wife. She did the news, I did the sports. And it was a very cool experience. If I didn't have those 5 or 6 years in the minor leagues, there's no way I ever would have been a viable candidate to be on the air in Houston. So I did mention some of the people from El Campo, and I'm grateful to them to this day for sure.
How long did it take you to get used to 4 hours? Because I was telling him the other day, when I first started, I looked up. And I had all my points, I had all my marks and everything, and I looked up and I'd gone through everything, and it was 4 minutes gone. And I said, "Oh my God, I got to do this for coming in for you." How hard was that to get used to that?
When Dickie hired me, it was a 3-hour show. It was 4 to 7. Then it became 4 hours, and it is a long time. Then for a couple of years, we did a 5-hour show.
Wow.
We did 2 to 7 every afternoon, and that was like you come out of the studio on your hands and knees. That was definitely a grind. Yeah. There is one thing I want to make sure I point out, though, about the whole tenure here at 610. So when I got hired here in 95, this was the most dysfunctional pro sports market in America. The Oilers had 1 foot out the door to Nashville. Drayton McClain was talking about moving the Astros to Northern Virginia. And Les Alexander was talking about moving the Rockets to New Orleans. There was no NBA franchise in New Orleans. So, shortly after I came aboard here, we got all the new buildings in town. The Oilers did leave, but the Texans, much better off with the Texans than we were with the Oilers, no matter what you might think today. Mm-hmm. So things turned around. It was great. I leave this station in July of 2019. The Rockets are a 50-win team, giving the Warriors hell every year in the playoffs. The Astros have Verlander, Greinke, and Cole, and Verlander's winning a Cy Young. They've won a championship. The Texans are going to the playoffs pretty much every year, and they look great with Watson and Hopkins. Then I leave, And we are once again the most dysfunctional sports city in America. So clearly, this city needs me on the air.
We're glad to have you back then. Hopefully this turns things.
I know it took a long time for me to get to that, but that was my point.
You get it. If you are, I don't believe many of you don't know, but by judging by the text line, this is Rich Lord. If you're listening to as we are celebrating him. He is last weekend, right? November 6th.
Yeah, last weekend in Kilgore.
Last weekend, he was enshrined into the Texas Radio Hall of Fame. I'm talking to Sean Pendergast, talking to people thinking and thinking about some of the moments that you had. I just want to play. I want to play one. I want to.
I'm at your mercy. There's not much I can do about this.
I want to play one. Tyler, this is one. I heard this before. Obviously, I met you. I heard this one. I was like, oh God, I wonder what this situation was. Les Miles?
Oh, Les Miles. Yeah. I remember this.
Les Miles. Let's hear this.
He was the coach at LSU at the time. He had to deal with rumors that he was going back to his alma mater at Michigan.
Yep. And Rich, I guess, wasn't afraid to ask him.
Coach, I know you've got a lot on your plate getting ready for this game, and the last thing you needed this week was to answer questions about a possible job change. But it seems like every few years, and I think this is like the third time in the last 6 or 7 years, at this time of year specifically, you've had to say, no, I'm not leaving LSU to go to Michigan. I know you played there. I know you coached there. I would imagine heading into the meat of recruiting season, this can be a little troubling at times. Did he hang up?
No.
Oh, Coach, I thought I heard a click. I thought you really didn't like that question.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah, does it become something that maybe even makes you wonder?
Excuse me. Do you have to understand? I am preparing for a great bowl game. I got a wonderful team, and I am taking my own time to do this. So you want to continue this interview, then let's do so, and you edit, because this is being taped, and let's go. And don't ask that question. It's one of those things you should have asked me before we got on the air.
No problem, Coach.
Okay, I'll wait.
I'll wait.
Probably a fair point, but I'll still defend the question. I don't think I was out of line asking that question.
That's not out of line at all. I mean,
you know what, Rich? I wanted to play that because
he's gonna bring it back to him.
Bring it on. Really?
No, he's gonna bring it back.
I want to know what you think.
Now, I want to apologize.
This is Rich's day.
Both you jackasses.
Hey, this is Rich's
right
segment
because I get blamed for this. All right. I have never pissed off well, no, that's not.
Oh, true. I pissed off co-hosts.
I pissed off.
I didn't just piss off guests.
That felt very Jim Nance-esque right there. Jim Nance hung up and walked away from us on a question, which I feel to see. I'm Rich. I feel the same way. It was very fair. We're
gonna eat up part of the 5 o'clock hour talking about that right there. This is right here's about Rich. I ain't gonna let you make this about show. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about that later. Other than that, Rich, what other top moments for you here at Sports Radio 16? I know you were here a long time, so hell, there's probably a million of them, but some other top moments for you, man.
There definitely are. I mean, I was here just shy of 24 years on this show. It was the best professional experience of my lifetime. I remember when there was talk about this station launching, and I honestly didn't know if Houston could sound silly now, but in the mid-'90s, I wasn't sure if a all-sports station in Houston, Texas was commercially viable. And then John McClain, who I also want to mention, I know he's still on the air here. John McClain came to me one day and said that he'd heard that the folks at 610 were interested in talking to me. So John's the first one who reached out and said, Mike Edmonds, who was the PD here at the time, wants to talk to you about possibly joining the station. So I those early days were a lot of fun, and it was a huge leap of faith because I was down the dial at 740. And that was the AM station here in town in the early 90s. If you were at 740, you were at the best place possible to be talking sports on the radio.
Right.
So it was the leap of faith to John McClain also for the hookup with Mike Edmonds and so forth. But those early years, my God, nobody knew who we were. And around 97, like 2 years in, suddenly Dickie Rosenfeld cuts a deal, 3-year deal, to be the Astros flagship station. That put us on the map. Then Jim Rome. Dickie cuts a deal for the Jim Rome Show to be on Sports Radio 610. Those two things put us on the map. So I have a lot of fond memories of the late 90s when this station was getting a foothold in the market. And like I said, Rome and the Astros were the two biggest reasons people finally realized there's an all-sports station in this town and maybe we should pay attention. So that was a great memory for me as well.
Rich Lord with us right here on Sports Radio 610 as we're congratulating him as being enshrined to the Texas Radio Hall of Fame. I just want to get your thoughts then on the current.
Do we have enough time?
I hope so. The current state of I guess Houston sports. Who you want to take on? What do you think about the Texans right now?
The Texans are first and foremost. There's no doubt. And I know Ron, you probably don't go back this far. Clint, you grew up in Baytown, so you're going to know what I'm talking about. Cal McNair is Bud Adams. Okay, that's the problem we have now. We have a completely dysfunctional organization with a dysfunctional owner at the top that has no freaking idea what he's doing. It's not good. I mean, handing Bill O'Brien the reins as general manager, holy mackerel. I know that was short-lived, but to make a decision like that, to me, is just indicative of how clueless he is. The whole Caserio thing where they had to apologize to the Patriots, hire him initially. And then the Easterby stuff, I mean, come on, running an NFL franchise? Holy mackerel.
Rich, you can't make it up.
It's true. It's true.
We talk about this is interesting. I want you. We talked about it yesterday because we're talking a lot of questions we get, a lot of interaction we have is with the fan base, and the fan base is Sean and I do the post game, and we get a lot of calls of, hey man, how do we go on? Like, what do we do as a fan base? How do we and what people that don't follow the team closely, that what you don't understand is this is not just a typical, hey, the team, the wheels came off, they didn't win many ball games, they chose to go a different direction with the GM and the head coach. That's not what's going on in Houston. This was building with Easterby and Bill O'Brien. This is a much deeper hole that's been dug than just your typical, hey, the organization lost, it's time to rebuild and go a different direction. This fan base has been through hell and back over the last 2+ years.
Major dysfunction within the organization, and I don't know if it's going to change anytime soon. And I think as time goes by, people will always associate the 22 civil lawsuits against Deshaun Watson as the point of breakage between him and the franchise. You have to remember, he was done with the Texans before any of that came to light. I mean, and he was done because he saw the dysfunction. He saw how futile it was to play for this team and expect to win. That's just, I mean, and with all due respect to Warren Moon, who I do have a lot of respect for, Deshaun Watson's the greatest quarterback in the 60-plus year history of pro football in Houston.
Really?
To me, there's absolutely no question. Name me some.
Warren would be the one, right?
Warren Moon was more of a pioneer than an all-time great quarterback, my opinion. You know, you can contest that, and that's fine. I never considered Warren Moon among the all-time greats. He's a pioneer for what he did, and so many players like Deshaun Watson and many, many others benefited from what he and his family went through here in Houston. And I'm not saying he isn't deserving of being in the Hall of Fame, and he's number 2 on my list, but Deshaun Watson's the greatest quarterback in pro football history in this town. And to have it end the way it did is just such a kick in the teeth. It's really tough to take.
It is. Rich Lord here with us as the Astros, they lose the World Series, was that last week. And now the big news out of this is Correa.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen with Carlos Correa. You think they should spend the money to bring him back?
I go back to the 90s, and they never let Biggio or Bagwell get out of here.
Come on now.
Biggio had a very good offer from the Colorado Rockies in the mid-90s, and he stayed. I think he actually took less to stay with the Astros. I know those were different times. But Correa and Altuve are the Biggio and Bagwell of 2021 for this franchise. And actually, they mean more to this franchise than Biggio and Bagwell. And I know that's blasphemy to a lot of people because they're both in the Hall of Fame and they were all-time greats, but they couldn't get it done in the postseason, ever. Yeah. Altuve and Correa have a championship under their belt. They are clutch postseason performers. I understand letting Keuchel go. I understand letting Cole go. I even understand letting Springer go. You don't let Carlos Correa go. You match whatever offer you keep him here paired with Altuve. That's how you have a chance to win more championships. I think it's an absolute fail on the part of Jim Crane to not retain Carlos Correa. And let's be clear here. He's gone. There's no chance. No matter what they're saying about, oh, well, we're going to talk. And all, he's history. He's going to get a $275 to $300 million offer to go somewhere else, and he's going to wave goodbye to Houston. It's going to be really sad.
Well, he's curtain called and I mean addressed the media multiple times as if he were already gone.
Right. I saw what Dusty did when he pulled him and got to do all the hugging and all that. I got it.
Well, Rich, you're one of the most knowledgeable dudes I've ever been around when it comes to the Astros in particular. And so you're the perfect person to answer this question. Say Carlos Correa leaves, which I think the majority of us feel like he's got the majority of out the window, out the door. You said Springer is gone. Now, obviously, Verlander, they've traded a lot of the system away, a lot of the prospects away. How do the Astros continue to win ball games at the clip that they've been winning them now that the prospect pool isn't what it was a couple of years back, and you're losing guys consistently like Springer, like Correa, like Verlander, Greinke's gone, Cole's gone, all these guys. The funnel is drying up, if you will. How do they continue winning the way that they've won the last few years?
Well, and at the same time, that pipeline may be drying up, and not completely, because they're still, I think, considered a pretty good organization below the major league level. They've still got a few decent prospects. I'm actually very intrigued by this Pena kid, who's supposedly the air shortstop. But if the pipeline is running dry, then you got to spend money. And Jim Crane has made money hand over fist as the owner of the Houston Astros. Let's not forget, he got a $35 million discount to sell a half-century of National League tradition down the river when he bought the team. So he's got the money to do what it takes. I don't think he's willing to spend the money. Look, you're probably, with the loss of Verlander and Greinke, what is that, close to $60 million?
65 million.
Goes off the payroll this year. You got to pony up for Correa. That's where it starts. If you don't, it's an indication that there's not good times ahead.
Yeah. What are you saving it for? Like, what are you saving it for? You've had
exactly
Cole gone. You've had Springer gone. What are you saving it up for?
And I heard you guys talking about John Wall coming in. My gosh.
43.
That's 43, what the hell is going on with this city? Look, I was kind of having fun, and it was a hook and maybe a punchline, but this is the most dysfunctional pro sports town in America right now.
No question.
That's right. All right. Listen, we're cutting close, but I see this on the text line. I feel like we've got to do you. We've got to do you right.
With all due respect. And remember, I'm saying
people asking this on the text line.
Didn't we just do all due respect talking about all the Houston teams? With all due respect, what the hell?
I don't know if you had another one. Let's roll that over. Let's roll that over on the other side. Let's jump in. Let's kick a little 5 o'clock fire off with all due respect. I see it up and down the text line. People are asking forward. Rich for a little bit longer, and he's got with all due respect coming up next. Rich,
The show, huh? The show is your nickname?
You're damn right it is.
The show?
Yeah, you're right.
I'm sure I'm not the first one to ask this, but if you're the show, what the hell you need Clint for?
I ask myself that every day. I ask myself that every day.
I warned you before we came on, right?
No, this is great. It's great. You two in the same damn room. I have no chance, man. I have no chance. Rich comes in here throwing gas on show. That's good. Right. I appreciate it.
You know I don't need it. But I've been seeing this up and down the text line. You got to do with all due respect. You got to do with all due respect. Well, we couldn't let you get out of here without doing that. So
I'm shocked you don't do it anymore.
With all due respect.
We can't do it as well as you all did.
Uh-huh. All right. Armin did give me the heads up and asked me to pull one or two quick items, so I did. And I have two Datelines. Dateline Des Moines, Iowa, Dateline Boulder, Colorado. They are similar stories involving pest control.
Okay.
I hate bugs. I hate bugs. Des Moines, Iowa. The Gray Lake Apartments on Fleur Drive. Recent big fire there. 38 units inside the building were burned. Dozens of people left homeless. They said it went quick, and it was a tragedy for a lot of people. Nobody hurt, nobody killed. That's the good news. Boulder, Colorado. Big fire at a private home that began in a crawl space under the home and then destroyed the home. Remember, I said pest control, right?
Pest control.
In Des Moines, Iowa, the fire began as someone attempted to light a bug on fire on a futon.
Sharp individual.
Police later said it lit up like a tinderbox. End quote. In the Boulder, Colorado fire, A man acknowledged afterwards that he was clearing cobwebs in that crawl space and decided he could get them all done real quick by using a blowtorch.
What are we doing here, man? Are they in Florida? No, they're in Boulder.
No kidding. That blaze caused, by the way, about $100,000 in damages to that home. With all due respect, I hate bugs as much as anyone. Fire is not the answer. That's all I got, guys.
No, that's good. That's good. You and my wife don't like bugs. I tell you, it's a hell of a deal.
But yeah, you don't kill them with fire. You don't want to kill them with fire.
No, definitely not.
All right, Rich going to hang in with us as we go with 5 o'clock fire. The news of the day, the big news in the NFL. Former Browns wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. is an L.A. Ram. He is going to the Rams. The Rams just added Von Miller last week, and now they're adding Odell Beckham Jr. They are making nothing about it. They are going for the chip. They are going for a Super Bowl with this move.
Yeah, look, they added Von Miller last week. They had Odell Beckham Jr. this week. They added Matt Stafford in the offseason. I mean, they're clearly adding pieces and shoving all their chips to the middle. They're all in, man. This is interesting to me because Odell Beckham Jr. is obviously a guy that has trouble fitting in wherever he's at. He pissed off or didn't get along with Baker Mayfield, and now he's going to get a shot out with the L.A. Rams. And I think this is interesting, Rich, because you do have a more veteran quarterback, if you will, than Baker Mayfield and Matthew Stafford. I don't know anything about Matthew from a personality standpoint, whether he's got the guts to shut guys in his huddle up or not, or even the want to do that. But I do like Sean McVay. I think Sean McVay is a new age coach with old school tendencies. I think he's got a great feel for being able to deal with these new age players like Odell Beckham Jr. It'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds, but I think it is a good fit from the outside looking in L.A.
I like Sean McVay, too. I like Matthew Stafford. And, hey, it doesn't get more veteran than future Hall of Famer Eli Manning. So I work that in there. Clint remembers I'm a Giant fan.
That's right, yep.
And so we are very familiar with OBJ's act. He wears his welcome out everywhere he goes. It's going to happen with the Rams. I think it's inevitable. Might be a nice fit initially, might help him out initially, but he's cancer, dude, everywhere he goes.
You don't know. Me and you and I are on the same page for damn sure with Odell Beckham Jr., but it is a one-year deal, which these one-year deals these guys are signing are obviously for, 8 or 9 games that are left. So maybe he can last 8 or 9 games with a Super Bowl contender and make it work for a few weeks, a few months.
My thought is, and I know, Clint, you wouldn't want Odell on your team, and as you just called him a cancer, Rich, I don't think you would probably either. But the thought that came to my mind is, God, how long is it going to be before the Texans are ever even in the conversation of adding players like this or trying to make a move like this is a Super Bowl? How long is it going to be before the Texans are in a position where they're, all right, we're a move away?
How did Ed Reed work out?
Okay. Laramie Tunsil.
Well, yeah, I was going to say the Laramie Tunsil move was one that I think most fans think of now when you say that. It didn't work out real well. So I don't know how long, Show, but hopefully the next time that the Texans are in that position, hopefully it works.
Would you love to be in the, Laramie Tunsil move right now? Let's go try and get Laramie Tunsil. Would you love to be there right now other than 1-8 and losing to the Dolphins?
5 o'clock fire.
All right, the other news coming out of the NFL, Cam Newton agrees to a deal with the Carolina Panthers. 1-year deal, just like Odell Beckham. $10 million. He could make up to $10 million, but it includes a $4.5 million fully guaranteed $1.5 million roster bonus there. And Carolina, they are now on their third quarterback since Matt Rule left Baylor and got there. Do you see this working out?
Well, I don't know what workout is when you talk about Cam Newton. I don't know what they want out of him. I think it's an interesting dynamic. I think you hit the nail on the head. Matt Rule and the Carolina Panthers are super aggressive right now to get things right on both sides of the football. They went after Gilmore out of New England. Yep. They traded for the kid, the cornerback Henderson kid out of Jacksonville. So they're loading up. They think they're at least on the verge of being a playoff team to make a run here. The Cam Newton thing interests me, Rich, because you know that you did it long enough. Most of the time when quarterbacks cut from the cloth of Cam Newton, which for players is what I'm talking about. When they get cut, there's egos involved, and they don't leave on good terms. A lot of times we don't hear about it. clearly Cam Newton, I'm tipping my cap to Cam Newton because clearly he left on pretty damn good terms and was professional on his way out the first time, because here they've opened the door and let him back in, and they're paying him starter money. $10 million for half a year, that's $20 million for the whole year. That's starter money per game any way you look at it. So not only are they letting him back in the building, they're paying him handsomely to come in, and I don't know if they want him to save the damn season or get him to the playoffs or what their hopes are, but I just tip my cap to Cam Newton for the way that he clearly handled the situation going out the first time.
That's good. Good on him for that. I don't really have a whole lot to say about Cam Newton. I just wonder what happened to Cam Newton. It doesn't seem that long ago.
He's only 32.
15-1 in Carolina, Super Bowl, MVP. I mean, what happened? At that point, I thought he was on a track to be an all-time great, Hall of Famer. And maybe he does make his way to the Hall of Fame one day, but probably not, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't think so, but stranger things have happened.
No, I don't know. We'll see if this works. That, to me, like if I'm the Texans, maybe they feel like they got their coach in David Culley. I don't think so. But I'm watching Joe Brady. If Joe Brady can make Cam work, and then to look at, all right, Joe did things at LSU and got Joe Burrow drafted number 1. And now I'm looking at what he's been able to do at times with Sam Darnold before, but Sam Darnold's just damaged. And then you do that with Gase, he's just going to damage you. You can't return from that. If Joe Brady shows that he can help Cam, that's somewhere where other teams around the league are going to look at him as a serious candidate to be a coach.
Well, he's already on folks' short list show. So I would imagine if he does something noticeably different with Cam Newton, I would imagine it would be a feather in his cap for damn sure. I think for your common fan out there that just likes watching NFL football, the Cam Newton, Joe Brady, Carolina offense moving forward is going to be an interesting watch to see just how different it does look, because the truth of the matter is Cam Newton has never been an accurate distributor of the football for 4 quarters where you can win a ball game on his arm alone. And that's what Joe Brady's offenses have been that we've seen to this point. Our point earlier, though, it didn't work with Sam Darnold. It didn't work with Teddy Bridgewater. So maybe if he can mold his offense around Cam Newton, maybe the new-look Carolina Panthers can make a little bit of noise here. I know this, whether it works or not, it's going to be fun as hell to watch.
5 o'clock fire.
All right, news with the Astros. Jake Myers had surgery to repair his torn labrum in his left shoulder. Remember, he went out in the ALDS in Game 4 against the White Sox. He tried to come back until Carlos Correa told him, "Nah, man, you got to sit down. You got to sit your ass down. You ain't ready." But he's not expected to return before opening day. The thoughts are he's not going to be ready for opening day. This is interesting to me because I think the natural thought is, all right, maybe Chas McCormick or Jose Siri, who Dusty seems to be really confident in, will step in. I wonder if they're not going to bring Correa back, and we know they're not bringing Greinke, and we know they're not bringing Verlander back, at least at that price. Is center field a place that they may look at, bringing in a free agent to upgrade there instead of just the in-house thoughts?
If they don't think Siri's ready, yes. I'm a Siri guy. I think Siri's the future at that position for the Astros. I don't know if he's defensively the player you want out there, but my gosh, it feels like to me he's got a ton of potential offensively. If he's ready, no. If not, yes. That's kind of what it comes down to for me.
Yeah. All right, listen, man, Rich, we appreciate you joining us, man. We've had a lot of fun with this. I just want you to give your send-off to the people, man. You have been, as you said, 25 years on these airwaves.
Yeah,
go ahead and send your shout out.
I'm still incredibly grateful. My wife and I are really enjoying retirement. We're doing a lot of travel. We're going to a lot of shows, and so life is good. But it wouldn't be good if I hadn't spent almost a quarter century in these studios. So I owe you guys and this station so much. Life is good. And I also think this station is in incredibly good hands right now between the people who run it and the people who are represented on the air like you guys. I mean, the promo has run for like a day and a half that I'm going to be on. And you can't imagine my email, my text messages, my phone is just blowing up with people. I heard you're going to be on the air. I'm going to listen. That sounds great. I'm really looking forward to it. I got guys from my alma mater, the University of the Country, that have been texting me today. We're going to be listening online. Can't wait to hear you again. That's awesome. So I said this when I left in 2019, and it applies just as much now. Gratuity is what it's about for me. I am so grateful to have had this experience that I'll never look back on it with anything but good thoughts and positive vibes. So thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, shout out to Rich's Dayton guys up there for listening,
Amen.
man.
Thank you,
We've been
Clint.
talking about you guys in the break. Big shout out. Rich.
We got robbed in 2020 with the pandemic. We were a number 1 seed.
Hey, Rich, I tell you what, open invite, man. If you want another ass kicking in the bowling, let me know, man. You can even bring your own ball this time, Bubba.
I have my own ball now.
All right, Rich, man, we once again appreciate you.